So we're going to talk just for a few minutes about the benefits of hanging upside down and the significance that the swing has on the spine, because it really is incredible. It's hard to believe that something so fun can have so much goodness in the way that it's affecting the health of the body. And I think that's why it has yoga has all the same benefits, exercise has all the same benefits, but it's just the accessibility and the playfulness and the ease in which people can hang upside down for 5 minutes each day and start to feel so much better. And it was fun to hear Donnie talk about how he's been hanging upside down every day and, how much he loves it and everything. And people you wouldn't suspect, at first people like, come on, or whatever, but then they love it. And so I really love hearing people's stories like that. So the number one significant benefit, of course, is reducing back pain. And that is huge for the fact that some 70% of Americans are living in back pain, living in chronic back pain, right? Just like it's such a huge number that it's just amazing, and we can directly correlate people being in pain, especially back pain, with sitting all day, driving, working at the computer, living in cubicles, all of these things that the body wasn't exactly designed for. Like, we have thousands of years of evolution, and just in the last, we'll just say 50 years, it's changed dramatically. Like, if you try to sit in that position, like in a chair position without a chair, the body's like, so even sitting cross-legged on the floor is much better than sitting in a chair. But, everything's been designed, cars and all that stuff, and cramped, like flying on an airplane, sitting on a bus, sitting on a train. We weren't meant to be like sardined in a really awkward position for long periods of time. So the body has, I think, done an incredible job at responding to this evolutionary need. But at the same rate, like, we want to give them significant release and relief. Like, even when I came last night, I was like, first thing I want to do just for 5 minutes is just hang upside down and just get rid of the day kind of thing. So yeah, we're just talking about the spine. Come on in, Bob.
I'll be right there.
Okay, great. So the other thing besides reducing back pain, and we all understand why it reduces back pain, right? So this is a really good way to just even give a little snippet, even 2 or 3 if you don't remember all 10. But this is all, like I said, in the manual and also online for you guys. So retracting the spine out of the pelvis to create space in between the vertebrae. So creating space in the body is the key. Space, right? Compression is the problem. Space is the solution, right? Elongation and relaxation will create a tremendous amount of healing. So if we could get into a handstand or a headstand comfortably to get the same relief, that would be great. The thing is, those things actually cause more strain on the body than good. So for me, I just love hanging upside down. I just love the full engaged but relaxed sensation of being wrapped in the swing by the largest joint in our body, which is not our ankles. Hanging by the ankles was okay, but not exactly it. Even hanging by the knees, because I used to go to the monkey bars before creating the equipment, and even hanging by the knees is okay, but not the same as hanging by the hips. So the place where the spine inserts into the pelvis, and just having so much mobility and flexibility in multidimensional space is huge, of why taking pressure off the discs and creating space, and how that naturally will allow more circulation and relief for the nervous system. And the nervous system is huge in talking about why this is such a huge benefit. And then when we can relax the back muscles that kind of almost get like cemented into place, they finally will get more blood and circulation to them. Feel free to hop in with us here, Bob, and we'll say hello. So reducing stress, number 2, what are the benefits and the significance of hanging upside down? Like, just the idea of people having more fun in their life is so important. So important for reducing stress, let alone, like I said, just hanging upside down will relax the muscles, build more circulation, get more blood flow. I also think there's something about hanging upside down and the way it's interfacing with the brain. And again, there hasn't been a lot of studies done on this. There's been tons of neuroscience studies with meditation, and I'm looking forward to working with some research partners and getting the real clinical data that people want to know what I already have figured out, right? But we'll give them the studies. It's good. Yeah. So reducing stress in the way that it affects the brain, and it's opening up like new neural pathways in the brain, dumping more happy hormones into the bloodstream by stimulating the pineal and hypothalamus and all of that jazz is very significant. So number 3, without even realizing, is talking about improved focus, balance, and brain function. So this idea of bringing more oxygen and blood flow to the brain, which can be really intense for people at first. You know, it's just like they're just not used to that sensation. And this is where I think it's really important to remind people that they, in their incubation period, right, because we talk about going back into the cocoon or in the womb, and we're developed upside down. So the brain is getting most of the blood and oxygen flow in that positioning. And then we are born and we're up and we're right side up, and then it's like we're almost like oxygen deprived, and we all know that we're using a very small percentage of our brain capacity, and I believe that this does make you smarter and younger and funnier and prettier and definitely happier. I know I'm a living example of that because I'm 175, but you know. But no, seriously, it's amazing how many shifts can happen in our mood and in our attitude and in our capacity to be more relaxed and be more present, be more focused, be more calm. And that's just hanging upside down for like a few minutes. You know, if you do this every day, like I feel my absolute best when I'm doing these trainings where it's 6 hours a day. My absolute best, you know, it's amazing. I actually feel like, Raspberry and I were talking about, I actually feel like my body wants to train, you know, wants to be in the swing. When I have time off, I'm like, when do I get back in the swing? Yeah. It's really an amazing, I mean, that to me is the telltale sign. And like, I don't feel fatigued. My muscles feel worked, but they don't feel tired. Right? And people are surprised that, like, you know, they thought they were going to be more sore or be more tired or that kind of thing. You do need rest afterwards because there's a really potent and powerful amount of healing happening in the body. So your body might need to rest, but it's not because you've like overworked yourself in the same way as if you were doing like 6 hours at the gym. So anyhow, I think that's significant. So I'm just going through this list of 10 here, and then they're all in your manual of the benefits of hanging upside down, and this is also one of the blog posts.
What page is that?
It is page 16, 15 and 16. Yeah, so it's right after the quick video references. Yeah, thank you. We don't need to look at this right now. It's just giving her an opportunity to scan it. We can look at it later. I mainly just want to get into the practice after we spend a few minutes just going over, just kind of like getting the gears turning in our own minds about like, yeah, we want to tell people this when they're getting in the swing. Like, hey, they might not understand why, because we're still all figuring out why, you know, why does this work so well? I just know that it does after, you know, 15 years of being upside down and being like, this is it. But not just being upside down and moving in multidimensional space and following these different patterns, you know, we call it the rhythm wave that moves through the body. So just going over again, obviously improves leg and core strength, arm strength, body, you know, muscle strength overall, but particularly core. When we really want to work it, and once we understand the pivot points and changing planes and all that, the core is activated in all the poses. And that's really, really significant. We're actually connecting the limbs to the torso. And when I say core, I mean like the entire trunk of the body, not just the stomach muscles, right? It's really different. And then it improves joint health and flexibility, which just makes sense, right? That just makes sense. And for me, after doing yoga for 20 years, I was kind of jamming my joints. It was like I was trying to get into certain positions and the joints were kind of getting locked with tension. And this actually does the exact opposite, where the joint actually gets all this movement and space, and I call it lubrication. So we're lubricating the joints in a way that they're getting more mobility without like straining them or putting too much pressure on them in these different poses. And for somebody who's had like, you know, major reconstructive surgery in both knees and lots of joint stuff, it is particularly lower back, because you know lower back is a major joint. It really, like, it was the difference between like having to stop doing yoga altogether because I couldn't do any of the kneeling anymore, and like now I just like can do the swing every day with no problem. Never once have I hurt myself in the swing. I mean, and I do pretty crazy things trying to figure out some new moves, right? I mean, if you don't have your hooks and your anchors, you can fall out, but really this is safer and more supportive than doing yoga on the ground or any sort of exercise with equipment. So it's hard for people to wrap their heads around that when they're like, oh, I can't do that, you know. So I think the AYRx program is just going to be a gentle invitation for people to go deeper and try things that they couldn't normally try before. Especially backbends and inversions, especially those, but even lunges, you know, and core strengthening, which is pretty amazing. Just getting the leg loop on is a core strengthener, right? So I start with that one. Just really use your whole body, lift your leg, feel the connection there. And it's really rewarding when they get it. You know, obviously there's frustration when they don't. But so better posture and getting taller. Like you literally can get taller. And obviously we're improving the posture, and I call it redesigning the posture with the swing. The swing for me is like truth serum. And I just thought it would be good to do this kind of concentrated. You probably heard me say these things at different times. But the swing immediately tells me everything about a person as soon as they get in. Their body will show me their discrepancies or their asymmetries, those torques, those twists. It all just shows up immediately using gravity. And not only does it show me that, but it quickly, with gravity, just like irons it all out, just evens it out. And I think that's really exciting because a lot of those asymmetries have been present, those distortions in the field. You know, they're not even just muscle asymmetries, they're distortions in the field that just get like kind of shaken out quickly, like really quickly. But of course that has a big emotional or surface charge that also needs to be worked through, because there was a reason why that was there. And we want to be really compassionate with people when they're having whatever intense experience or release that's happening with the swing too. Really good. So the other thing that's in here, so we're in 9 and 10 here. So better posture, taller, and then improves both skin and lymph circulation. So clearer skin and less wrinkles, like really, this is the most incredible. I don't like the word anti-aging per se as much as youth and vitality program, but really anti-aging is just like a catchphrase. So this is the best program for increasing youth and vitality. Like improved skin and, you know, just to be kind of funny, but people say this to me all the time, which I think is hilarious, but you know, I'm in my 40s and they're like, oh my God, like your boobs aren't as saggy as other women in your 40s. And I was like, you know, I'm pretty sure it's from hanging upside down. I'm serious. Like, it just like reversing everything just gives that buoyancy in the body. But I'm serious. It's amazing for both your skin and just getting everything to go up instead of gravity pulling it all down, you know? So that's also a big part of like improving the lymph function too. So I go into extensive detail. Like I said, I think there's some 25 pages about reducing nerve pressure, hydrating the discs, all this stuff, with different documentation for articles that were written by doctors. And it's just good to have that all in one place to reference when you're working with someone, and just know how important it is for us to immediately, for me, I usually just say that I work with doing yoga in the swing. I have avoided using the word aerial altogether. You know, I created aerial yoga play before aerial yoga got popular as part of the quantum playground. So it was like aerial yoga play because acro yoga was already like in full swing. So AYRx, which is a great acronym in itself, like AYRx, right? So it's aerial yoga, AY, and then the RX is like representing like Therapeutix, kind of like the whole medical thing, which I thought was really cute. So I was like, AYP, ape, is kind of cute too, you know, but like ape really isn't as smooth sounding as AYRx. So AYRx, and the whole idea of being in the air, and so all the Zen healing and healing technologies, it's all spelled with a Y, so it was all like perfect. And so, as you guys know, I've been talking about the third module, which will be next year, called Sacred Geometrics, and I haven't come up with a cool acronym yet for that, but it will happen. Like Sacred G or something. So we'll figure it out between now and then. It'll just come in. Because that's what happened with the AYRx. It just kind of came through, and I was like, oh my God, I have to do this whole new thing. And really excited for those teachers who've already been practicing, those people who've already been in the swing, to really dive into the application. And I would like to hear if there's a specific area. We'll just welcome Bob. Thank you, Bob, for being here. Happy to have you. Why don't we just take a moment, standing, sitting,